Sambola. English speaking is especially difficult when you're tested. And this is often true when you're preparing to go abroad to work and to study. So the Royal Tutorial Project brings to you a program titled How to Improve IELTS Speaking and presenting Mrs. Ruth Carr, an IELTS expert, and Mr. Tinlatundu.
Hello, I'm going to give you an idea of what an IELTS speaking test looks and sounds like, first of all. An IELTS speaking test takes 11 to 14 minutes, and we have here somebody who is actually a candidate in that he's going to be taking IELTS in about 3 weeks' time. So this is actually his first bit of practice. And we haven't done any rehearsing because IELTS, you don't rehearse. It's what you can do in 11 to 14 minutes when you're asked questions that you haven't seen before. So the candidate I'm working with is called Tinley Dendup, and he has recently completed class 12 with very high marks, and many congratulations. And it's a great honour to be working with you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to start by doing an IELTS speaking test, and it's going to be different from the real thing because I will be making notes so that I can give useful feedback to him, and maybe some of the feedback I give him will be useful to some of you who are watching. Okay, so let's start. And IELTS speaking always starts with good morning or good afternoon. Good morning. My name's Ruth Carr. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Good morning. My name is Tinlatundu.
Okay. Now, I should mention that all IELTS interviews are recorded, and this means that if you get a very wide range of marks in your IELTS, like much more in your speaking than in your writing, another examiner can listen to your IELTS speaking and make sure the marks that have been given are correct. Okay, so the recording normally starts this way. This is the IELTS speaking test from Timpu, and the candidate is Tinley Dendup, candidate number 00046, and the examiner is Ruth Carr. Good morning, my name's Ruth Carr. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Good morning. My name is Tinlatundu.
Okay, and what should I call you?
Tinle.
Okay, okay. And where do you come from?
I come from eastern part of Bhutan.
Okay,
from
from
a place
Bhutan.
called Mungar.
Okay, and then always in IELTS, could I see your passport, please? Or ID document.
Sweet.
So I look at that and I say that's absolutely fine. It should correspond with the number that's in the application. Absolutely fine. Thank you. Now, in the first part of the test, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
I'm a student and I've just completed my class 12 from Ugin Academy.
Okay, and what are you planning to study?
I'm planning to study something related with business, probably accounting, and yeah.
Accounting. Okay, and why are you interested in accounting?
Accounting because the whole idea of business and the world of business intrigues me because I have always been passionate about how people manages to do business and how their skills like intuition come into the play, and that has somewhat made me wanting to do something in the field of business. So accounting is very helpful for all business and it's a challenging job.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I could play a part in it and make a living out of it in future.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, now let's move on and let's talk about traffic where you live. How do most people travel to work where you live?
As in at home or here in Thimphu?
Here in Thimphu.
Yes. So traffic is not so big as other cities around the world, but it's growing. I mean, it's a town and many people work here, so it's growing constantly. And It can be like any other countries. We have peak hours, which is probably 9 in the morning and 4 to 5, when the office starts and ends. So
Okay, and so what traffic problems are there in your area?
traffic problems, there could be many, but if I mention few, uh, we don't have traffic lights like another country, I think you noticed. And it can be very difficult when you don't have someone something doing the systematic work for you. And some drivers can be not so mindful, so which can cause traffic jams. And yes,
And how do traffic problems affect you?
me as a student, I get affected by being late for some occasions. For an example, I was traveling towards the studio this morning, and yes, so can I mention that?
Yes, you were travelling this morning.
Yes, to the studio, and I got delayed by about 15 minutes. So yes, so I get affected in many ways. I
Okay,
think
thank
that's
you.
one.
Okay, and how would you reduce the traffic problems in your area?
Oh, that's difficult. But I think traffic light would be a good suggestion or solution, because that's the way how traffics are dealt in cities, having lots of cars and vehicles. So now we're at that level, some point. So I think we need to start establishing traffic lights.
Okay,
And-
thank you.
Yes.
Okay, now let's move on and let's talk about food and cooking. Who does the cooking in the household where you live?
I live with a friend, so his family cooks for me.
And who in his family?
I think his mom or his sister.
Okay. Did you learn to cook when you were a child?
Not much. So I've always been told that I'm very good at household work. Bad at household work, sorry.
Okay, right. And do you think that you will do more cooking in the future?
I'd love to. I mean, I get fascinated by how people cook, but then I've never tried it out. It's funny, but then I would love to try it in the future.
And is there a style of cooking that you like, that you prefer?
International cuisines, just maybe, I don't know much right now, but I think I'll explore it and find a way.
Okay, thank you. Now, I'm going to give you a topic and I'm going to ask you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes.
Sure.
Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, well, here's some paper and a pencil for making notes.
Thank you.
And here's your topic. Please don't write anything on the
Okay.
paper. I'd like you to describe a game or sport you enjoy playing. All right. Now remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll
Okay.
tell you when the time is up.
Sure.
Can you start speaking now, please?
First of all, I'm not much of a sport person, but then I enjoy playing it during my leisure time. And if I had some free time, it would be tennis. I would be playing usually table tennis, ping pong. And I have played this game since I was in grade 7 or 8. So it's one of the games that I'm good at, and that's why I think I like it. And other than that, if I have friends, I can play any sport, like ranging from basketball to futsal, football, anything which gives me a bit of boost and fun. So apart from that, we have other not sure about other sports, but then, yeah, ping pong, tennis. I have done coaching before, but then since the life of a sports person is not so sorry, life of a sports person is quite challenging in our country, so I have never took it too seriously, but I do love it during my free times.
Okay, thank you. So, do you know many other people who play table tennis?
As in international players?
Yes, well, in your country.
In my
Are there
country?
many other people who play table tennis?
Yes, I have a friend, Pematle, who's great in badminton, and he plays tennis as well. But yeah, so I've never played for a school or for anything, but
Yes.
it's just one of those things I do.
And are there table tennis facilities in Bhutan?
Not so much, but then it's improving. It's all schools are establishing it. They have now game instructors, and I think eventually we'll get there. So
Okay,
yes.
thank you very much. Can I have the paper and pencil?
Yes,
And
sure.
the task card
Yes.
back. Thank you very much. Okay, now we've been talking about a game or sport you enjoy playing, and I'd now like to ask you one or two more general questions related to this. So let's consider first of all children's games. How have games changed from the time when you were a child?
When I was a child, I studied in a rural primary school, so we didn't have much facility, and even if we had, it was we did not have instructors as such, and we had no clue about other types of sports. So it was more football and other ring game, I think, and frisbee, I think. And
Right, ring game. Are you thinking of what we call deck tennis with a
I'm
rubber
not
ring?
sure, I don't-
Is it? Yes.
it was a rubber
Yes.
ring. Yes.
Right. Okay.
So-
And do you think that this has been a positive change, that there are more games that people play now?
Yes, I think games and sports are a very essential part of our lives, and it needs to be like improved, and yes, it needs to be
Means to be more
yes,
available. for
more
people.
available, and
Okay. Why do you think children like playing games?
because it takes us from our normal daily routine to another fun and wonderful recreation. So I think it's more of stepping out of your stressful day. Maybe it gives you that energy. Yes, and it keeps your body fit for. no doubt.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about games and competition. Now, do you think competitive games are good or bad for children?
I think it's good because it makes you work harder for it, and it you realize your own potential, and you know where you are going. So I think it's in a way a good thing to have competitions. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Do you enjoy competition?
Yes and no, because as I said, competitions can help us work harder, but then sometimes it can discourage people, and so.
How can games help unite people?
Because it teaches lots of values, starting from teamwork and leadership. And yes, so many of the values are being included in game and sportsmanship, and I think that's how it brings people together. And while you're playing the game, for example, football, 22 people in the field and all the spectators are totally united under one sport. So I think that's fantastic about sports.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That's the end of your speaking test.
Quite relief.
Okay, so that's stopped, and that recording will be taken by the centre and put with your other materials.
Okay.
And if you if anything went wrong or there was a wide range of marks, it's normally a wide range of marks, then another examiner, not me, another one would listen and check that the marks that I give are correct for the way that you spoke. Okay, so that's the end of the test part. Now, let's have a look at your performance. Okay?
Yes, sure.
So I'm now going to be, now this doesn't happen in the real thing. In the real thing, I say that's the end of your test, and he leaves the room, and as soon as the door closes, then the recording is stopped. Okay, you wait till the candidate has left the room.
Okay.
Okay, but now we're going to look at how he did. We all heard how he did. He did very well, I should
hope
say. So I've made some notes, and I've made a note of one or two things in pronunciation that need to be a bit clearer. And I've made a note of a few grammar mistakes, and otherwise, and the topics that we talked about, so that he can take this away and see how to do even better when he takes the exam in 3 weeks' time. Okay, so pronunciation.
Yes.
Most of your words were correctly pronounced, and you were speaking at the correct speed. I didn't have to work hard to understand anything that you said, so well done.
Thank you.
There were two words that, when you say a word like late, you say leet.
Lead.
Yes, you say E instead of A. Many Bhutanese do this, I should add. And so you talked about you wanted to tell me you got delayed.
Yes.
What you said is you got delayed.
Lead.
Yes. So just momentarily I had to think, what's he saying? All right, but many of your A sounds come out as E. And you want to try and correct that so that your examiner doesn't have to do any work to understand every word you say. Okay?
Definitely.
But everything else, that you were easy to understand in each part, you spoke at the correct speed, and there was very little confusion caused by unclear pronunciation, and your word endings were very clear. So, well done.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about your fluency now. I should add that an examiner will make 4 marks, one for fluency, one for vocabulary, one for grammar, one for pronunciation, and your overall band score in speaking is what these 4 marks together produce. Okay, so fluency, you're a very willing talker, and you gave complete answers and relevant answers to all questions.
Thank you.
So I've got, nothing I can say that I think you'd do better. I think you did that fine. Okay, you spoke easily. There were no long pauses, and you didn't keep repeating yourself. You gave me the information once, and then you went on to give me more different information. So fluency was fine. Now, let's think about your grammar. There were 1 or 2 mistakes with singular plural. You said people manages to get to work. I think you said that.
Yeah.
Now, what's wrong
so.
there? People manages?
Manage.
That's right.
Manage.
It's plural people, isn't it?
Yes.
So we don't want that S. I'm going to use a red pen to indicate where you made a mistake. Okay, people manage to get to work. You talked about we need traffic light.
Traffic light.
Only one light?
Lights.
Lights, that's right. It needs a final
But
S.
we can start with one.
And you said you think traffic are dealt with better in countries that have traffic lights. Traffic are?
So it's traffic is.
That's right. Traffic is uncountable, so it
Okay.
takes the singular. So you made 3 grammar mistakes here, and you made another one in the next part when you were talking about children's games, and you said we didn't had much facility
Oh, I see it
when
now.
I was at school. Now, can you correct that mistake?
Yeah, it should be. Didn't have.
We didn't have, good. So I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We didn't have much facility.
Facilities.
That's right. So it should be facilities. Do we say much facilities?
I'm confused now.
No, when we count, we don't say much, we say many.
Many.
We didn't have many facilities when I was a child. So that little bit, there were a couple of grammar mistakes
Yeah.
there. But if we think about your performance in grammar, it was generally very good.
Oh, thank
You used the same tense as the question. So I asked you, did you learn to cook when you were a child? You gave me all the information in the past tense and said, no, I didn't learn to cook. And you know, and when I asked you about a game or sport you enjoy playing, you gave me all the information in the present tense. You did that fine. Normally you did that fine, apart from those mistakes. And you used correct word endings generally, and you used quite a few complex sentences. You didn't just use short little simple sentences.
Okay.
You said, you know, you gave extra information. So that's grammar. And then vocabulary, I've written a lot of things down. I'm looking for less common words that you used well, your own vocabulary and varied vocabulary. And I think you used the word, you talked about what's helpful, what's challenging, peak hours, these are all less common, and being mindful. And it's one of the games I'm good at. Now, a lot of people don't realise we say good at games, not good in games, good at games. Well done. So all these that I've written down are good things you said, that will help your band score. You talked about children's games are helpful and it makes the day less stressful. And with games and competition, you said it makes people work harder. It helps children to realise their own potential. That's very good. And you talked about it teaches people values. It's very good. And it teaches teamwork and leadership, and it brings people together. Now, they're all very precise ways of giving ideas, and I'd say well done. You're using English expressions and vocabulary very well. Okay, so thank you very much. That's the feedback. That's for you.
Okay, thank
and
you.
you can think about making sure you pronounce a little bit more clearly.
Yes.
And making sure you don't make those grammar mistakes when you have the real test.
Definitely.
So thank you very much, Tinley. I'm just going to end by saying a few words about pronunciation. Pronunciation is actually very important, and you can have some serious misunderstandings, or you can have some quite funny misunderstandings. Two things have happened to me while I've been in Bhutan. I was in a restaurant with some friends, and I very much liked the chili paste that was offered by the restaurant. And it was dry chili paste. And I asked my friends and said, how do they make this? And my friend said, oh, well, it has Bhutanese paper in it. And I started to try and imagine how could Bhutanese paper be something that would help this chili paste to taste better. And then I realised she meant Bhutanese pepper. So that was the first thing. And another misunderstanding was when I was interviewing a candidate in Bhutan, and I asked him whether he lived in a house or a flat, and he said he lived in a flat. And I said, what is your favourite room in your flat? And he said, the bathroom. And I said, why is your bathroom your favourite room? And he said, it's because it is really auspicious. And I thought, perhaps it's a room with a shrine, perhaps, and some tankas. And I said, why is it auspicious? And he said, because there's room for two of my children to have a shower at the same time. What he meant to say was it was spacious, and I understood auspicious. So that's an example of two misunderstandings. Both of them made me laugh, made us all laugh. But it's better if you can pronounce words more accurately. So I now have a list of some words that I have heard mispronounced while I've been here that might be helpful for you to hear pronounced by a native speaker like myself. So I've got a list of 26 words, and I will leave a little space so that you can try pronouncing them correctly yourselves after I've spoken. Manipulate. Efforts. Noble. Projects. Successful. dramatically, attributed, unprecedented, occupants, domestic, faces, committed, support, supplied, presently, taboo, security, poems, domains, provided, volunteers, images, devastated, saved, currently, percent. That's the end of my list. Good luck to any of you who are going to be taking IELTS speaking in the near future.